when the United States is holding up the Non-Proliferation Treaty as a standard in which we hold Iran and North Korea accountable to.
Scott Ritter, the Washington Post reporting another senior official said U.S. intelligence had formally declared only low confidence that the site played a role in a Syrian nuclear program.
Well, I understand there's people saying that. You know, we have John Bolton, who recently left the Bush administration, putting his marker on the table, saying that Syria was pursuing nuclear weapons. You have the Office of the Vice President carrying out a whispering campaign. But the bottom line is it really doesn't matter what the U.S. government says was going on there or wasn't going on there. The site was bombed, and the United States government has not condemned this bombing. We are signatories to the Charter of the United Nations. We are a permanent member of the Security Council, and it is our responsibility to ensure that the sovereignty of member nations is protected. And what occurred in September of last year was that the sovereignty of Syria was violated by Israel in a preemptive, unprovoked attack against a site that was not in any way representative of a threat to Israel or a violation of international law. This is where people should be focused on, not, you know, the toing and froing about what was or what wasn't going on in Syria. What we're talking about here is the violation of a nation's sovereignty, an act of war, unprovoked, preemptive, by one nation against another. And the United States is remaining not only silent, but we're actually siding with the aggressor.
Can you talk about the photo that was released of Syrian official with North Korean official that did not actually appear at the Al-Kabar site?
Again, it's a photo that can't be linked to any of these activities. It's a photo that ostensibly shows one Korean with one Syrian, and it's not evidence of a crime. It's not evidence of a nuclear weapons program. It's not evidence of anything. It's circumstantial in the extreme, and to be talking about a photograph of this nature in a manner which somehow justifies this preemptive act of aggression is absurd and insulting, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. And the timing of the release of this photo and this information?
I think it's quite clear. The United States is in the middle of some very sensitive negotiations with North Korea to resolve the North Korean nuclear dismantlement. The Bush administration is desperate to be seen as saving face, and they are trying to get the North Koreans to admit to having a secret uranium enrichment program and for working with Syria on an undeclared nuclear program. The North Koreans so far have refused to acknowledge either, and I believe that the Bush administration's sanctioning of the release of this information at this time is designed to embarrass North Korea, to prompt a face-saving move for the Bush administration, and maybe even get the North Koreans to admit to something that they continue to say just wasn't happening.
Isn't Syria also saying that there are negotiations going on with Israel right now about giving back the Golan Heights?
There is this discussion. I don't believe the Syrians have come right out and said that there's a deal. There's some talk in Israel that they have received a diplomatic outreach from Syria about this issue, about trading peace for the Golan Heights, and there has been some speculation that the release of this information is designed to torpedo any talk of a peace settlement between Israel and Syria.
Do you think the U.S. does plan to attack Iran?
There's no doubt in my mind that the United States is planning right now, as we speak, a military strike against Iran. The chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff and almost every senior U.S. military official has pretty much acknowledged the same. They speak of the need to punish Iran and deter Iran from continuing to provide material assistance to Iraqi groups, these so-called special groups that operate, according to the United States, outside of the umbrella of the Mahdi army. And they speak of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Command as being a rogue organization within the Iranian government that provides this support. The United States Senate, through the Kyle Lieberman resolution, has pretty much given a target list blessing to the U.S. military by passing a resolution that labels the Revolutionary Guard Command as a terrorist organization. And the Bush administration, of course, is engaged in a global war on terror backed by 2 congressional war powers resolutions. We take a look at the military buildup, we take a look at the rhetoric, we take a look at the diplomatic posturing, and I would say that it's a virtual guarantee that there will be a limited aerial strike against Iran in the not-so-near future, or not-so-distant future, that focuses on the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Command. And if this situation spins further out of control, you would see these aerial strikes expanding to include Iran's nuclear infrastructure and some significant command and control targets.
Scott Ritter, I want to thank you for being with us. Scott Ritter is a former UN weapons inspector in Iraq. He has written the book, Target Iran, The Truth About the White House's Plans for Regime Change. Those are some of the news. When we come back, we turn to a former embedded reporter. Before that, he was a Marine, and what happened to him when he went to photograph in Basra. Stay with us.